Forest dragons, alternatively called green dragons, or D. chlorinus nauseus respiratoris by academics, exhibit a cunning and self-serving demeanor. They are renowned for their expertise in manipulation and their inclination to exploit lesser beings, establishing themselves as adept conspirators. Green dragons are primarily distinguished by the prominent undulating crest or fin that originates from their nose and extends along the entire length of their body. They possess notably lengthy and slender forked tongues. Unlike other chromatic dragons, the scales of green dragons do not fully solidify, granting them enhanced flexibility. Additionally, they boast elongated legs and necks, facilitating their ability to peer over tree canopies. Their wings typically display mottled patterns and gradually lighten towards the tips. Green dragons lack actual ears, but instead have ear holes located on either side of their head. While they may not possess the highest level of intelligence among true dragons, they exhibit a remarkable creativity in their malevolent manipulations. Identifying a dragon egg as belonging to a green dragon can be accomplished by observing a greenish-white hue when the egg is held in front of a white bright light. However, this trait is not exclusive to green dragons and is also shared by white dragons and any dragon species possessing a gas or vapor breath weapon. These dragons are notorious for their volatile temperaments and propensity for malevolent actions. They take pleasure in intrigue and secrecy, often adopting a facade of diplomacy and deception when confronting more powerful adversaries. However, their cruel and petty nature becomes evident when asserting dominance over weaker creatures or seizing advantage in a situation. Green dragons derive particular satisfaction from enslaving intelligent woodland beings. They relish the opportunity to stalk their enemies, eavesdropping for any valuable information before launching their attacks. Occasionally, they may strike without provocation. During hunts, green dragons meticulously track their prey over prolonged periods, sometimes spanning days, until they can launch a lethal ambush. They relish instilling fear in their targets and typically spare at least one survivor to assert dominance, extracting valuable information, particularly regarding nearby treasures. In conflicts with more formidable opponents or rival dragons over territory, green dragons often feign vulnerability to gather intelligence about their adversaries. Similar to their hunting tactics, they exhibit patience, waiting for opportune moments to strike, even if it takes years or decades. The scales of green dragons provide them with natural camouflage amidst the dense woodlands of their general habitat. In addition to using their powerful jaws and claws in combat, green dragons possess the ability to expel a cone of poisonous chlorine gas. Remarkably, they can unleash this unique breath weapon even when completely submerged underwater. According to the complete dragon hunter, the chlorine breath of green dragons is ineffective against animal hides treated with urine or vinegar. Green dragons typically lead solitary lives, although they occasionally form temporary alliances in pairs or small groups when the prospect of substantial gain arises from such an arrangement. They hold their territory in high regard, displaying exceptional cunning and deceitfulness within it. Within their own ranks, green dragons exhibit bold rudeness and vulgar conduct, with females often displaying these traits more prominently than males. These dragons primarily inhabit woodland areas, including jungles, bayous, and forests. Their territories are often marked by a dense fog with a faint scent of poison lingering in the air. Despite the dense foliage, some green dragons are known to reside in the elven wood and the star woods of Cormanthor. Younger green dragons typically dwell within these forests until reaching a certain age, at which point they establish their own domains elsewhere. Green dragons typically choose underground lairs, often comprising of a network of caves and tunnels concealed behind waterfalls. Their preferred lairs are high cliff caves, although these are usually difficult to find and occupied by the oldest and most powerful dragons. If necessary, green dragons conceal their lairs with magically grown thickets of plant life. Within their layers, they can manipulate the roots and vines to immobilize intruders or summon barriers of tangled, thorny bushes as needed. Some layers develop a chlorine haze, a residual gas harmful to those exposed. Like other evil dragons, green dragons hoard treasure, favoring wood carvings, instruments, sculptures, emeralds, and beryls. They may also adorn their treasure with rare plants cultivated within their layers. However, their most prized possessions are sentient beings claimed as servants, particularly famous individuals from the realms. Some green dragons serve the dark Chultan demigod, the Shaodao. Such dragons are considered favorable omens by his followers. Courtship among green dragons is initiated by females, often reflecting offensive behavior. After impregnation, a strong bond forms between the mated pairs. Incubation of green dragon eggs lasts around 16 months, with eggs laid around the 4-month mark. Mated pairs dedicate themselves to newly hatched wormlings, remaining close during incubation. Green dragons are unique among chromatic dragons in sacrificing their lives for their offspring. Wormlings resemble black dragons initially, but develop green scales as they mature. They typically remain with both parents until reaching young adulthood, around 51 years of age, at which point they set out on their own. When a green dragon perishes, the surrounding area becomes a hub for the rapid growth of deadly plant life around its corpse. Particularly toxic plants flourish and reach abnormal sizes at an extraordinary rate. These sites often exhibit a stronger connection to the Feywild than the surrounding terrain. The violent actions of a green dragon can attract the admiration of a dragonborn with ambitious aspirations. Green dragons often find these dragonborn to be useful servants. While they typically manipulate non-dragons with their schemes, they are not opposed to taking action against their own kind. However, they generally refrain from plotting against their own parents or kin. They frequently employ more subservient creatures as minions. Kobolds, goblins, ettercaps, orcs, yuan-ti, and ettins are among the creatures known to serve green dragons regularly. Certain green dragons maintain significant ties to the Feywild, and some even serve the malevolent archfey, known as the Queen of Air and Darkness. They have an omnivorous diet, consuming a variety of plants and live animals. They particularly relish fey creatures like elves and sprites. According to the sage Elminster, their dietary preferences can be discerned by their eye movements. Lateral movement indicates a craving for vegetation, while a direct stare suggests a desire for meat. Like other dragon breeds, green dragons cannot chew their food. To aid in digestion, they swallow small stones, pieces of metal, and even coins, which are stored in a secondary stomach, akin to a bird's gizzard. These stomach stones grind down their food and are eventually expelled as waste. Certain poisonous roots found throughout the realms have mild psychoactive effects on green dragons when ingested. These effects intensify the impudent behavior they exhibit when interacting with their own kind. Armor crafted from the scales of green dragons provides protection against clouds of poisonous gas, such as those released by iron golems or the spell Cloud Kill. One method of creating a wand of sticking cloud involves using a horn from an aged green dragon. Several green dragons have gained infamy in the lands of Toril. Aglareros, an ancient green dragon, resided in a mountain named the Fang in the Forest, located within the Earthfast Mountains. She devoured a Thayan wizard skilled in life-draining magic and assimilated his abilities. This allowed her to prolong her life significantly by extracting the life force of other creatures. Aglareros possesses a distinctive patch of rough scales on her belly. In her youth, she frequently raided brigands and ships in the Nilanther Isles. Facing powerful magic from her adversaries, she decided to relocate inland to the Shar region. After disappearing from historical records for centuries, Aglareros resurfaced in Veldorn during the 14th century alongside the red dragon Clouth. She annihilated a horde of orcs in the spine of the world in 1339 by the Dale Reckoning. Following this event, she retreated to her lair and slumbered for 12 years. In 1351, she reappeared to devour the entire lost caravan of Terramel near Hardcastle in the Shire. Subsequently, she compelled a group of dwarves to construct a trap-filled lair called the Lure of Jaws. Despite her demanding task, she generously compensated the dwarves and permitted them to leave unharmed. The dwarves propagated rumors of a solitary dragon who did not age, guarding a treasure-filled lair, attracting numerous adventurers whose life forces she drained. Andaru Narthex, also known as Daron, is a young green dragon as of the 15th century and an avid participant in the Game of Zorvental. Known as the Great Game, or simply the Game, Zorvental serves as a strategic battlefield for dragons, acting as a substitute for direct conflict. Comparable to chess, the game involves dragons plotting against one another through their minions and unwitting pawns in order to advance their agendas and gain prestige. Dragons, typically solitary beings, see Zorvental as a rare opportunity to earn status among their kind. Mastery of the game is a mark of exceptional intelligence and skill, yet only a select few dragons fully commit to its demands. Many dragons are drawn to Zorvental in their youth, enticed by the challenge of outmaneuvering their peers and the promise of immense wealth. Newcomers to the game are often mentored by seasoned players, creating a hierarchical structure reminiscent of feudalism. These elder dragons not only share in the hoards amassed by their protégés, but also gain renown should their students achieve success, in exchange for offering protection and guidance. The rules of Zorvental are complex and deeply rooted in draconic thinking, making them incomprehensible to non-dragon creatures like humans. Misconceptions abound among humans, who often misunderstand the true nature of the game. Certain accounts portray Zorvental as a deadly competition where dragons vie to outwit and eliminate their rivals, implicating governments, religious institutions, and clandestine groups in the dragon players' machinations. According to Clytemore Nestrix, such depictions not only misrepresent the rules, but also distort the game's logical framework, at least from the perspective of dragons. Zorvental resembles a game of chess, where players must outmaneuver their opponents through strategic moves rather than direct combat, utilizing their minions to seize control of territories and treasure while risking their own hoards and lairs in the process. As a result, dragons engaged in Zorvental take great care to remain hidden from others. Participants in the game are known as Taldaraks. Each dragon appoints a head servant called a Lovok, along with other servants known as Dokal. These Lovoks are bound to their masters through a ritual, granting them special powers in exchange for their unwavering loyalty. The game is governed by numerous rules known as precepts. Brimstone estimates that mastering the complex code of rules would require several years, and even the wise dragon Alasclair Banastos confesses to not comprehending all of them fully. The complexity of the rules means that dragons of lesser intelligence, such as wights, rarely participate in the game. A fundamental rule dictates that to gain, you must first lose, requiring all Taldaraxi to relinquish their innate magic in order to play the game. This is achieved through the ritual of Zorvental, a mandatory meditation period within a magical cocoon lasting 1 month, marking the dragon as a Taldarax indefinitely. In exchange for their lost spellcasting abilities, but not their spell-like powers, participants gain the capacity to manipulate their minions, communicate telepathically with other Taldaraxi, and enhance their power as their reputation in the game grows. Players are prohibited from directly attacking one another. Instead, they must deploy their servants against their rivals. However, combat is not forbidden entirely. If both players agree to a challenge, the Tal'Daroxi may engage in battle, with their servants compelled to fight as well. Points are earned through conquest, eliminating key adversaries, or demonstrating exceptional skills in subterfuge, daring, or renown. These points determine the hierarchical order among dragons, as dictated by the Ritual of Zorvental, which binds Tal'Daroxi to the rules of the game, compelling them to carefully strategize their choice of minion and tactics to accrue points efficiently. Common strategies in the game include castling, which refers to the intricate process of relocating a Tal'Darox's horde from one location to another. This maneuver typically requires years of preparation, although some players may execute it more swiftly, thereby earning additional points. The claw test involves a predetermined gathering where the minions of numerous Tal'Daroxi, along with unwitting agents, convene to accomplish objectives on behalf of their masters. The victors are determined by which player's minions achieve the most objectives with the fewest advantages and resources. A seed horde represents one of the most aggressive strategies in the game, involving the establishment of a new horde in an area not intended for personal occupation by the Tal'Darox. To maximize points with this tactic, the player must rely entirely on minions to establish and defend the horde. If positioned near a rival's territory, additional points can be earned if the rival fails to destroy it within a specified time frame. Direct attacks against the seed horde are prohibited by the rules. A seed sham entails the creation of a counterfeit seed horde, composed of actual treasure rigged with traps and other hazards aimed at depleting the resources of a specific rival. Failing to uncover a seed sham can result in a significant point loss, while discovering it using the game's rules offers a swift means of earning substantial points, making it one of the riskier strategies in the game. In 1479, Andaru Narthex made a bold move in the game by infiltrating Waterdeep and establishing a lair within an antiquarian shop in the Trades Ward, strategically positioned outside the range of the city's Dragon Ward. His primary objective appeared to be the domination of Waterdeep itself. A blue dragon, known as Nestrix, was transformed into a human woman by the spell plague, and along with her companion, Tenora Hedare, they orchestrated a heist in Daron's shop to steal a magical mask on behalf of Andra Blacklock. Daron traced Tenora back to her residence and launched an attack. Upon the intervention of Nestrix, he identified her as a dragon and assumed she was a fellow participant in the Game of Zorvental, perceiving her actions as a strategic move against him. Subduing Nestrix, Daron teleported her to a hideout in the sewers. He proposed releasing her in exchange for Tenora stealing the Song Dragon's Choker, a relic granting immunity to the Dragon Ward. However, Daron betrayed Tenora and attempted to eliminate her. Additionally, he abducted the son of Nazram Reyes, one of Waterdeep's masked lords and the guardian of the Dragon Staff of Agairon, an artifact conferring immunity to the Dragon Ward upon any dragon that touches it. Tenora sought the assistance of a bounty hunter trailing Nestrix, and together they located Daron's lair in the sewers, freeing Nestrix. However, Daron managed to escape by teleporting back to his shop in the Trade Ward. Tenora and Nestrix confronted Daron at Nazra's mansion, ultimately defeating him and compelling him to flee the city of Waterdeep. Buchimbralor is a green dragon that resides in Cave Velen as of the year 1373. He is notorious for causing trouble in the Firaven area. During the Rage of the Dragons in 1373, Buchimbralor initiated hostilities against all ships belonging to the Weldath. With the assistance of Linu Saxonal, he wreaked havoc along a significant portion of the coast. Subsequently, local sailors placed a bounty on his head. Buchimbralor exhibits overconfidence, viewing creatures of his size or smaller as inherently inferior and engaging in battle with them without hesitation. This approach has enabled him to accumulate a horde larger than most dragons of his age. the dragon Chathulandroth, in his youth, destroyed the Tower of Nezram in 681, plundering much of its treasure before flying off to the mountainous regions located to the west. Later in 921, the dragon assassinated Horuseres II, the fifth pharaoh of Mulhorand. At a certain juncture, Chathulandroth mated with another dragon, resulting in the birth of Scuthosine. Clelia Matar harbors a deep fascination for powerful elven and human females, as well as the spells capable of transforming dragons into humans. Her greatest desire was to become one of these formidable women, residing amidst the hustle and bustle of city life. However, devising a safe method to achieve this goal posed a considerable challenge. The dragon employed numerous agents known as the Gnawbones to manipulate events within the City of Splendors, Waterdeep, and Neverwinter. Additionally, she sponsored adventuring parties such as the female nobles of the Blood Red Crown Company. Clelia Matar bore a half-dragon Etten son named Bone Splitter, and also was the mother of Vorgon Sharax. Sages speculate that the dragon lived in the Crypt Garden Forest as of 1303, establishing her lair within the Deeping Cave. She incurred the wrath of House Brokengulf when she impersonated a silver dragon and offered to rid their grazing lands of herself. Deceiving the guards, she consumed them and stole their payment before employing illusions to fabricate a battle with herself. In reality, she destroyed the fences securing the Brokengulf's animals for future consumption. Subsequently, she extorted double the initial payment from Lord Saerlin Brokengulf, threatening his family's safety. When Saerlin attempted to delay payment, Clelia Matar retaliated by collapsing his villa's tower in on him and his sisters, resulting in casualties and financial ruin for the family. During the 14th century, a warrior named Angrathos from Neverwinter sought the dragon's assistance in hunting down the drow dragon Nurvurim, but was refused. Amidst the rage of dragons, Clelia Matar faced aggression from other green dragons in the Neverwinter wood, compelling her to flee her territory. Intercepted by members of the Cult of the Dragon, she was offered the option of Draco Lichdom, but it is unknown if she agreed. Chuth is an adult green dragon known to inhabit the Misty Forest. Born in the Ardeep Forest in 942, the dragon developed a preference for hunting and consuming elves from a young age. His focus eventually shifted towards targeting elves of royal lineage, employing invisibility spells and frequently relocating between forests to evade detection and retaliation. At one point, Chuth allied himself with the Cult of the Dragon, agreeing to undergo the transformation into a Draco Lich during the Rage of Dragons in 1373, which was anticipated to be perpetual. However, he later reneged on this agreement, devouring the cultists in his enclave following the conclusion of the Rage. Around 1485, Chuth was sighted near the Laughing Hollow, hunting Prince Algarthos. Subsequently, despite his prior actions, Chuth formed an alliance with the exiled elf prince and fellow cult member, Neron Vane. Together they orchestrated raids against the elvish denizens of the Misty Forest until their eventual defeat at the hands of a group of adventurers. Chuth derived enjoyment from the thrill of the hunt. In his youth, he entertained the notion that consuming elves could grant him immortality, but eventually he dismissed this belief as folly. Aarakocra, also referred to as Elar, was a green dragon who established his lair among the star mounts within the High Forest. He is considered the oldest dragon residing in the High Forest as of the mid to late 14th century. He possesses a rapacious and cruel nature, taking delight in the act of killing. Aarakocra maintained a strong inclination towards privacy, diligently guarding his territory. The dragon spent extended periods in slumber, awakening only once every few decades. Upon rousing from his rest, he ruthlessly eliminated any individuals attempting to scale the star mounts, utilizing flyby attacks to dislodge climbers from the mountainsides. The Aarakocra inhabitants of the Star Mounts, along with their descendants, swore vengeance against Aarakocra Malikros after he decimated their homes. Aarakocra appear like humanoid birds. Each wing possesses a hand halfway along its edge, featuring 3 human-sized fingers and an opposable thumb. An elongated 4th finger extends the wing's length and remains locked during flight. While flying, these hands cannot grasp, but when perched with wings folded, they function nearly as well as human hands. Their robust legs terminate in 4 sharp talons that can unlock to reveal another pair of functional hands. These creatures possess hollow, fragile bones, and their facial features blend those of parrots and eagles, with gray-black beaks and black eyes. Plumage color varies, with males typically displaying red, orange, and yellow hues, while females lean towards brown and gray tones. Aarakocra are generally peaceful beings who value their solitude, often avoiding enclosed spaces due to extreme claustrophobia. Male Aarakocra tend to have short tempers and may fly into fits of rage when wronged. They also display a penchant for romantic flirtation, regardless of marital status. In combat, Aarakocra prefer aerial attacks, utilizing javelins, including a unique type called a flight lance, along with darts, daggers, and their own sharp talons and beaks. They may wear studded leather, but generally eschew shields. Social structures see Aarakocra residing in small tribes atop high mountain peaks, sharing communal nests and controlling hunting territories. Leadership typically falls to the eldest male, supported by the tribe's shaman, while females craft tools and weapons. Religiously, Aarakocra on Toril may worship Erdrifenia, perceiving her as a giant white bird, while those in the north primarily venerate Sirenita, but also honor Akkadi, Remnis, Stronmaus, and also Erdrifenia. Many Aarakocra tribes maintain limited contact with other species, preferring to remain within their own territories. They do share strong ties with Avariels, sharing a patron deity and a mutual respect for nature. While understanding and speaking common, they often punctuate their speech with bird-like sounds. An Aarakocra group known as the Nest of Retribution, comprising 10 wizards, clerics, and druids, amassed an army of air elementals at the Lost Peaks in preparation for an assault on the dragon, Aarakocra Malikros. In the late 1360s, the dragon awoke under mysterious circumstances and proceeded to obliterate the 5 local Aarakocra settlements on the Star Mounts. Over 120 fell victim to this rampage, while survivors were scattered across the north and as far south as Cormyr. The remnants of the communities converged at the head of the Unicorn Run, establishing a new village known as the Last Eyrie. In subsequent years, the Green Dragon continued to terrorize the Star Mounts, with rumors circulating about a hidden treasure within his domain. By the late 15th century, the descendants of the displaced Aarakocra remained steadfast in their quest to seek vengeance against Aarakocra Malikros. Ful-yi-Setat, a formidable green dragon, found herself compelled into the role of an unwilling guardian for Abazagal's lair, ensnared by a spell against her will. The Scroll of Reversal, held in possession of Lycanth, serves as the key to breaking this enchantment. Among her possessions, Ful-yi-Setat owned Abazagal's wardstone, along with an enchanted trinket known as the Spectre's Ring. Garion's ward encountered Ful-yi-Setat within her chamber in the Nine Hells, observing a profound anguish reflected in her eyes, suggesting the dragon had endured immense suffering. Recognizing the ward as a ballspawn, Ful-yi-Setat implored to be liberated from her spell. To progress toward Abazagal, the ward faced a choice: either release the dragon, prompting her departure, or engage in combat with her. Regardless of the outcome, she expressed a desire for the ward to eliminate the mongrel half-breed responsible for imposing the spell upon her. Grimnosh Stradano, commonly known as Grimnosh, was a green dragon renowned for his fondness for riddles, residing within the High Forest during the 14th century. Grimnosh boasted striking golden green eyes and is considered large for a green dragon of his age. His ability to alter his color at will allowed him to seamlessly blend into his surroundings. In or before the year 1364, Grimnosh razed the village of Tasker near Waterdeep, seizing the Morning Lark harp from its ruins and transporting it to his lair. Subsequently, he struck a deal with Eriador Wintermist, known as the Garnet, agreeing to relinquish the Morning Lark in exchange for her orchestrating a widespread challenge. This challenge invited adventurers and riddle masters to test their wit against Grimnosh. Those who succeeded received a scroll from the dragon provided by Garnet. A party led by Danilo Than and Olathe Kralnober, alongside the riddle master Bartane, ventured into the high forest to confront Grimnosh. Despite their failure to solve his riddle, they managed to incapacitate him with magic and absconded with the scroll. Upon recovering, Grimnosh sought vengeance against Garnet in Waterdeep. Granted entry into the city by Marl the Dragon Mage in exchange for the services of his son, Kavalanoth, Grimnosh intercepted Garnet before she could enact a curse upon the harpers and populace of Waterdeep. Ishanalir is an ancient green dragon and served as one of the operatives of the Samaster during the tumultuous events of the Rage of Dragons in 1373. He possessed several unique attributes as a hide-carved dragon, a form of draconic mystic. During the events of the Dragon Rage of 1373, Ishanalir participated as part of the Chromatic Dragon contingent involved in the siege of the monastery of the Yellow Rose. However, a clever deception orchestrated by the copper dragon Chetulio led to Ishanalir engaging in a deadly duel with the red dragon Malazan. Despite their clash, Malazan emerged victorious, resulting in the green dragon's demise. Jacksane de Gore is an ancient green vampiric dragon who made his abode atop Mount Fulbane in Threskel. Characterized by scales alternating between light and dark green hues, the dragon's presence was further accentuated by his piercing yellow eyes. Remarkably colossal in size, he dwarfed even the most formidable blue dragons in stature. Around the year 1365, Jacksane de Gore received a directive from the dragon Askler Banastos to lead a contingent of lesser Draco Liches in devastating Morktar. This punitive action was in response to Regent Carbarath Telthaug's defiance of the Dragon King's authority. By 1479, Jacksane de Gore served as Askler Banastos' lieutenant during Threskel's conflict with Chesenta. Additionally, he held the esteemed position of Tal Darax in Brimstone's Zorvental. However, amidst the pivotal battles of the war, Jacksane de Gore defected from his master's ranks. His current whereabouts are unknown. Mornauguth, known as the Moor Dragon, was rumored to have originated as a human priestess devoted to Shar, who faced a curse due to her daring plots. As an adult green dragon, she made her home in the deep ravines of the misty forest. During the tumultuous events of the Rage of the Dragon, Mornauguth found herself overlooked by Shar despite her experiences of madness-inducing turmoil. Seeking a new path, she underwent the transformation process to become a Draco Lich under the guidance of the Cult of the Dragon. However, upon completing this transformation and embracing undeath, Mornauguth unexpectedly regained the favor of Shar. Once again, empowered as one of her priestesses, the dragon continues to preach on behalf of Shar in Toril. Ringri Meryl Xoth, a young adult green dragon, resided in the Snakewood, located southwest of Brigand's Gorge and west of the Gulf of Storms as of the year 1370. Known in the area as Ring for short, he displayed a relatively non-aggressive demeanor, preferring to remain close to his lair. Despite his dissatisfaction with his current location in the Snakewood, he cautiously focused on strengthening himself before challenging other dragons for territory. Though Ring rarely ventured beyond the confines of the forest, he occasionally ventured to the surrounding countryside for hunting expeditions. During one notable incident, Ring ambushed a group of highwaymen, seizing a substantial amount of treasure for his hoard. However, his triumph was short-lived, as he subsequently encountered a group of 30 trolls, resulting in the loss of both his newfound wealth and a near-fatal encounter. Sirvanhandra, a formidable green dragon identified as a great worm, emerged from its lair in the Dun Hills in the year of the Dragon Rage. Its target was the Abbey of the Just Hammer, where it wrought havoc and destruction. However, the dragon's rampage was brought to an abrupt end when it was confronted and ultimately slain by Lord High Justicar, High Avenger, Daron Ariok. As a young green dragon, Venomfang established his lair within the ruins of the Thunder Tree village, taking residence in an old wizard's tower. He exhibited the typical characteristics of a young green dragon. Possessing a protective nature over his amassed wealth, he prioritized survival over confrontation, opting to retreat if faced with significant danger during a battle. His hoard boasted a variety of riches, including coins and an enchanted axe named Hugh. Venomfang took great pleasure in admiring the treasures within his hoard. Around the year 1491, the dragon traversed the skies above Neverwinter Wood in search of a new lair. During his journey, he stumbled upon the abandoned tower within the Thunder Tree and claimed it as his own. After displacing the creatures dwelling within, including giant spiders, Venomfang opted to remain in seclusion with his newly acquired lair. The cult of the dragon is known to have intentions to make contact with him. Venomfang, commonly referred to as Venom, was a green dragon residing in the southern woods of Cormanthor during the millennium before the Dale Reckoning. Unbeknownst to many, Venom always operated alongside his mate, Venomfang, and their true identity as two distinct dragons remained concealed. In -982, the pair settled in the Emerald Vale, where their malevolent influence corrupted the region, leading to its ominous reputation as the Tangled Vale. During their reign, they ruthlessly slaughtered numerous centaurs, perpetuating fear and devastation throughout the land. Venomfang met her demise in battle during the Year of the Silver Wings, -249. Subsequently, Venomfang faced his own demise at the hands of the Moon Elf warrior Jason Anglor in the Year of Elf Sorrows, -206. At some point, the pair produced an heir named Vendemniharan, who later aligned himself with the cult of the dragon. Vermilius is a youthful green dragon inhabiting Arkan's tower, situated in the plain of Avernus in approximately 1492, alongside 3 other juvenile chromatic dragons named Flash, Slarkus, and Vistalancer, as well as a fully grown white dragon. Vermilius shared the duty of safeguarding the tower's master, Arkan the Cruel, a devoted servant of Tiamat. Verthandantalinx, known as the Verdant Cloud, was a female green dragon inhabiting the forests of Cormanthor, situated to the west of the ruins of Mithranor. She was revered by the inhabitants of Trenahes, a nearby human village located on the eastern bank of the river Ashaba. Known affectionately as Little Verthi, the villagers paid homage to her by offering visitors and valuable items. In return, the dragon protected them from monsters and neighboring communities. However, in 1373, the dragon succumbed to the rage. In a fit of frenzy, she launched an assault on the village of Trenahes, leaving it ravaged and in ruins. Vorgon Sharax, an adult green dragon during the tyranny of the dragon's era, was characterized by his massive size and ego. Despite an old injury, he remained a formidable presence, towering over others of his kind. While not the most graceful flyer due to his injury, he compensated for this deficiency with his formidable skills on the ground. Within his lair, he kept prisoners under the watchful eye of a blue slod. Clelia Matar was the offspring of an ancient green dragon, Clelia Matar, who ruled the distant Cryptgarden forests. Clelia Matar's early life was marked by a significant injury sustained in a battle with the bronze dragon, resulting in a tattered and maimed right wing. During the tyranny of dragons, Clelia Matar, in response to incursions into her forest, lent Vorgon Sharax's aid to the cult of the dragon. In 1489, the cult dispatched him to Flan to secure the Pool of Radiance and restore its former power, promising him rulership in return. Borgon-Sharax successfully conquered the city, eliminating many of its leaders at Balahivo Castle, and held dominion there until 1492. However, unbeknownst to him, he had fallen under the subtle influence of Tiran Thraxus. Borgon-Sharax's personality was characterized by an overwhelming sense of smugness, coupled with sarcasm and contempt in his speech. Green dragons are among the apex predators of the forests of Toril. Their physical strength, coupled with their cunning and adeptness at manipulating their surroundings, establish themselves as dominant figures within their territories. Beyond merely inhabiting these forests, they exert significant influence, shaping the very fabric of the civilizations and kingdoms around them. The scholar Fizban the Fabulous once said, "In some ways, the green dragon is the most dragon of dragons. Pity that Tiamat gets credit for them."